NHL Tonight, presented by Craftsman. Tony Lupton alongside John McClain and Brian Lawton. If you thought a two-game night in the NHL was going to make for a slow news day, were you wrong? And we'll get into it. The Florida Panthers relieving Gerard Gallant of his coaching duties. We've been talking about it all day. We'll talk about it all night leading up to the Stars taking on the Blues in St. Louis. You first, Johnny Mac, weigh in.
Why? Because I got fired? I've been fired before? Is that why?
We appreciate you bringing that up.
Listen, you know what? He got a raw deal. As far as the coaching aspect of it, you think he got a raw deal. They did it. It's Florida's right to do it. You know, I'm still a little upset about how they handled the situation. But, you know, we'll see. The proof will be in the pudding. We'll see. He did a great job last year with him. His players loved him. Up for Coach of the Year. We'll see where this ends up. But the way they did it, I wasn't happy with. It doesn't matter if I'm happy with it or not, just from a coaching perspective, how you handle the person. There's the person and there's the coach. And that's what I was a little upset with, how they handled the person.
I couldn't agree more. I think you nailed it. Right, hit the nail right on the head, Mac. Absolutely. It was really the process more than anything. I think it was fairly well known at this stage that Gerard Gallant and the current general manager ownership group had a different philosophy as for the direction of the club. It's a little bit mind-boggling for people out there away from the club, because when they look at the Florida Panthers, you know, you're talking about a team that just 3 seasons ago was really floundering. They got new ownership. They did get it turned around. They had a tremendous year 2 years ago. And then, of course, last year they stringed together a 103-point season. It's such great progress that you think, if it ain't broke, why do we need to fix this? Well, guess what? There was some conclusions obviously drawn that things weren't going the way that the senior management wanted the Florida Panthers to go. So they went out and completely retooled their defense. They did affirm the great young players that they have. They went out and signed those guys long-term. Huberdeau, Trocheck, Nick Bjugstad, and the list goes on and on. So it's just curious as to why the change in direction. And, of course, Dale Tamlin, I didn't even touch on that.
We will devote plenty of time and attention to this. In fact, let's bring in Harvey Fialkov, who covers this team and is on top of this story. Harvey, first question about this. What was your immediate reaction when you heard this news?
I better start making some phone calls. I actually was off yesterday. I wasn't in Raleigh. I was at a weekend retreat with the family, and had to get on it right away. I wasn't, you know, listen, we knew as soon as Talon got shoved upstairs and Tom Rowe came in that change of philosophy. They always want to hire their own people, so Tom Rowe hired himself. We thought that it would take at least a decent losing streak for them to make any change such as this. And the Panthers have not had a losing streak. They've been inconsistent. You guys hear me okay? There's a lot of noise on the line.
No, we hear you. We hear you just fine. In fact, what you wrote about this was very intriguing. In your article, you pointed out at this exact same point last year, the Panthers had 1 point less. And we remember Gallant that first year, a 25-point improvement. Talking about this team heading in a particular direction, was this move a step in the right direction?
I mean, they said that he was inconsistent. How could you be consistent? As you guys just pointed out, I counted 14 new players being injected into this team that hardly were on the team at all last year. On a team that's won 103 points, franchise record, 47 games. They faced it all in that Islanders series. The Panthers totally outplayed the Islanders. They lost 3 overtime games, 2 double overtime games, 2-1. They had Trocheck and Bjugstad, both getting injured at different times. And of course, John Tavares played an outstanding series, as did Grice. But still, guys, this team had it all, and I don't know why they over-tweaked it, especially the blue line. And right now, 5 out of 6 players on that blue line hardly played with this team last season. Counting Mike Matheson, who played 3 games at the end of the year, and then 5 games in the playoffs. I just think they overdid it. I like a lot of the moves. John Marchessault, great bargain move. Yandel, Demers, decent. I mean, Campbell was going to Chicago anyhow, where he won the Cup and his family is. Willie was retiring to buy a hotel because concussions. But then the Kulikov, and here's the big one, the Bronson to Jared McCann. The only true physical presence on that team, and they traded him away for a 20-year-old kid with potential. And when they had enough scores and enough young talent, Bronson kept the guys off of Luongo in the crease. and opposition feared Eric Bronson. There's no interfering in that team unless you go up to the press box where Sean Thornton hangs out.
Wow. Final thing for you. You also pointed this out in your article, and it was eye-opening. Among the quotes that Rowe had, it was about fixing their special teams, their power play. Yet their power play ranks better this year than it did last year. What about that?
Ranking-wise, yes. I'm not sure about percentage. But still, again, when you listen to Jonathan Huberdeau, who was like the key to that top line with Yago and Barkov, who have 5 goals between them guys. They had 28, 27, 55 last year. Listen, I hate to say it, I love Yago with 44. Could be father time, could be catching up to him. So we just don't know. Huberdeau may not be back till end of January and sliced his tendon in the last preseason game. How could you predict that? And then, of course, Jokin was out 10, 11 games, and he made the second line goals. Trocheck and Raleigh Smith. Smith has only 4 goals. You can't pin this on Gallant. Listen, Tom Rowe's an excellent hockey man, a great resume. Look what he did. He helped the Carolina Hurricanes win a cup. But it's going to take time for the players to warm up to him because they love Gallant. And they are getting their players back, which is good. So I think they could go on a roll and still be a solid playoff contender this season. But I just think it came a little bit too early. I don't see the rush.
It is an intriguing story, to say the least. Harvey Fialkov, thank you so much.
Anytime, buddy.
Tom Rowe, whose name we have said so many times in the last, 24 hours, talked about this coaching change.
I think it was the inconsistency of the team. We felt, one game we played really well. Last night, first period was the best period of the year, and then second period we collapsed and, lost the game in the second period. So I think that was, what drove it. And, to put it one word, I would say just the inconsistency so far. We feel we got a great team, and, we want to play a very fast, attacking, aggressive style that the fans want to come to the rink and watch every single night. But the one message we want to get to them is that, we're all together on this thing. We all want to pull in the same direction. And change, like you said, is never an easy thing. You disrupt an awful lot of families, and emotions come along with that. But we'll get through it, and, we're going to be a great team, and we just got to get through a little bit of this adversity.
Tom Rowe says they're going to be a great team. What do you guys expect specifically from this team going forward?
No, I have no idea. Right away, honestly.
How about that?
You know what? Right away, I don't think it's going to be as easy a change as they think it is. This is not something that's been going on like, he had a bad year last year and we're going to give him 20 games to see if he can turn it around. He turned it around. He came in and he turned this team around. He gave them an identity. You knew you were going to play against a hard, skilled hockey club against the Florida Panthers. Did he run into some injuries here? Yeah, he did this year. He ran into a lot of injuries this year. And then and he kept this team afloat. I know they're not in the playoffs at Christmas time, but they're not that far out of it. And with the talent level that they're talking about, what they have and all the young guys in that, they didn't make this change because he was a bad coach or it was where they are. They made this change because they wanted to go in their own direction. Their prerogative. But I just don't see going into Chicago tomorrow night to play the Blackhawks. It's going to take an adjustment period. We saw it last year when the coaching change was made in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
It took Mike Sullivan 4 games to get this thing turned around. And that was for different reasons. That was for the play on the ice, and Crosby wasn't producing the whole thing, and they were a healthy team. It's going to take a little bit here for the players to swallow this. They're professionals. Yes, they're going to play hard every night out, no question. But to get their minds right, this is going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, I agree. In Sully's case, I think that Chris Letang had a lot to do with that personally. Being out, but once he came back, things started to roll.
That's true.
In this case right here, let's talk a little bit about, Gerard Gallant. First of all, Turk, as his nickname is, to the players, very well liked, very well respected. Generally, just a really good guy, known to give a lot of days off, right? That plays really well with players, and you better play well with players, because ultimately you got to find ways to motivate kids in today's world, young players in today's world, and he was excellent at it. Tom Rowe, he's also a very well-respected hockey person. I actually think that he will bring some more structure some different things that Gerard Gallant was doing. And I think that that will be very good for them. It's yet to be seen, but they have a good core group of players. They haven't played to their level yet, I think personally, mostly due to the number of injuries and due to the changes that management forced upon this team. So when I add it all up, the Florida Panthers are not falling off the map. They're going to be just fine, and I wouldn't be surprised if they even play a little bit better. I just get perplexed as to why the significant changes. I felt like they were really moving in a good direction, really felt good about the Florida Panthers, felt excellent about the leadership that Vinny Viola was bringing to them, and then the changes started. Now we're at this point, there's a lot of noise around the team, and it's going to be fascinating to watch unfold.
And we're going to do a deeper dive on this a little bit later on. But first, we're going to take time out. When we come back, there's another team that's been struggling, that reached the playoffs last season. In fact, they played against the Panthers in the playoffs. The Islanders have one win in their last 7 games, and that guy hasn't scored a goal in 9. What in the world?